Alright guys, it's Jerningam here. As you can see here, Chinese steps up treated Hong Kong. Look at all the Chinese army there in blue and green. It couldn't be any more realer, guys, but there we are. We're going to press play on it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press play on the screen.
CPIC's smash hit Independence Day offer is back. Buy 3 plots and get 1 free.
Chinese army.
China Park.
President Xi Jinping's last Hong Kong visit was 2 years ago, to mark 20 years since the handover of what was a British colony to China. He minced no words then about who was in control.
Any attempt to endanger China's sovereignty and security, challenge the power of central government and basic law of Hong Kong, or to use Hong Kong to conduct infiltration and sabotage against the mainland is an act that crosses the red line.
But the past 11 weeks of mass protests in Hong Kong seem to cross that red line, the government even calling some of it near terrorism. However, there's been not a single word from Xi himself. Unlike his U.S. counterpart, President Donald Trump, who personally involves himself on topics big and small, including these protests in Hong Kong, President Xi rarely engages on specific issues, focusing more on the big picture. But some say don't confuse the lack of face time as lack of direct involvement on Hong Kong.
I think anything that China will do involving Hong Kong will be a decision directly up to President Xi Jinping and the top leadership very closely at his disposal. He has lots of things to take care of, and Hong Kong probably is just one of them.
One tactic that top Chinese leadership has decided on: misinformation. Twitter and Facebook have taken steps to block hundreds of accounts with ties to the Chinese government. Twitter said the accounts were an orchestrated attempt to undermine the legitimacy and political positions of the protest movement. And through lower-level officials, the government has accused Western nations of meddling. A strong visual warning from Beijing coming several times over the last 2 weeks. Propaganda video of armed police amassing and training in Shenzhen, just across the border from Hong Kong. A not-so-subtle reminder of mainland might. The stakes are high for the central government.
If they can't handle the Hong Kong situation properly, it means a failure for its one country, two systems. It will affect their rule greatly. China wants to unify Taiwan with the same one country, two systems. But if it fails in Hong Kong, it won't work with Taiwan. It's a threat for the future.
All this just 6 weeks before the big celebration marking 70 years since the founding of the People's Republic of China. There'll be a big military parade here in Beijing and a showcase speech by Xi looking into the future. But a simmering situation in Hong Kong could cast a shadow over that future. Scott Heiler, Al Jazeera, Beijing.
Well, more and more army personnel, as one would say to me. Right, so we're going to try and find... This was 1 hour ago in Syria.
This follows days of fighting which saw them firing rockets into government territory. The Syrian government has told its forces, which are backed by Russia, that the battle isn't over yet. The rebels also retreated from the town
Turkey, Syria, so you got that.
Hama, and it's the site of a Turkish military observation post. Khan Sheikhoun in southern Idlib province is a main population center. It used to be a place where 100,000 Syrians took shelter before the military escalation began in April. Towns nearby in the northern Hama countryside have fallen to government forces, but for the Syrian government, the big prize was getting control of Khan Sheikhoun. That will give it access to the M5. It's an important economic highway that crosses the country. Zena Khoda has more from Beirut.
Khan Sheikhoun is back under the control of the Syrian government. Images released by pro-regime media show the town in southern Idlib empty of residents and fighters. Rebels withdrew early on Tuesday after days of fighting and hundreds of airstrikes. Its location gives the Syrian government access to parts of a vital commercial highway that connects the northern city of Aleppo to the capital, Damascus. It has been a military objective for months.
This is a very important development in the course of this conflict.
on Idlib. This is the first step, the first stage maybe, in an effort by the government to regain control of the territories along the M5 road between Hama and Aleppo. I think the next target will be Marat al-Nu'man.
The opposition didn't just lose Khan Sheikhoun. Rebel fighters had little choice but to leave towns further south in the northern Hama countryside. They would have risked being besieged if they didn't move further north. The opposition was hoping the presence of a Turkish observation post in the area would stop the government advance, but an attempt by the Turkish military to reinforce that position failed when an airstrike launched by a Syrian or Russian warplane on Monday prevented it from reaching its destination. The Syrian government and its allies have been advancing in the past 2 weeks. They have now taken more territory than they did in the first 3 months of their military campaign. It's not clear if the rebels, who have been subjected to heavy firepower, are exhausted, or if the army is using better tactics, like concentrating the strikes close to the front lines and on rebel supply routes. But the relentless airstrikes and bombardment continue to force people into displacement. In recent days, more than 25,000 are believed to have moved north, closer to the border with Turkey. War monitors and activists say over 700,000 Syrians are homeless since the military escalation began in late April.
The past few days witnessed unprecedented bombardment. That is why the people who didn't leave during the first months of the offensive packed everything and left. Most of them believe their houses will either be fully destroyed or taken over by the regime.
The bombardment of opposition-held towns across southern Idlib continues as the Syrian government presses on with its offensive. There have been more civilian casualties as rebels promise to defend what is left of their last stronghold. The battle is not over. Zana Khader, Al Jazeera, Beirut.
More and more wars. Let's see. There's a lot of wars going on recently. Just thinking. Yeah. Just trying to figure out what news I can show next. Bank holidays weather, what is in London? Saturday, 12th August. Tell you about the weather here, what degrees the weather is. York. Tells you about all the weather. That was a short video. Right, so it's like a heavy Russian plane. Like a spy plane or something. They always do some short videos in here, don't they? I'm always seem to be in quite deep thought all the time, thinking about things, thinking about what other videos to make on here. I think I may just leave it in this video and do another one. I'm doing short videos and I'm live streaming long videos on my gaming channel. So thank you for joining me in this one, and I will catch you in the next one, guys. Peace. I'm sorry if my words get a bit jumbled up sometimes. I speak a bit quick and fast. Anyway, see you in the next one. Peace.